TJ the Wheel Deal coming at you live. It is Friday, April the 25th, 10:17 a.m. Central Time, Texas time. I think our boy Amit is still live, so I expect this to be a very intimate audience, a very small audience, and you guys are going to get a master class on how to deal with your emotions. I got some naked calls that were under pressure when I logged on to the account this morning, and we're going to talk about it. You guys are going to talk about it. Oh, very cool. Why isn't Midnight on? Oh, right on. That's right. It's probably a meetup or something, right? Because he's been doing meetups every month or so. Anyway, you guys are in for a treat today. There's a lot of people that would get in this situation and they're going to shy away from everything. And, they're transparent, but when push comes to shove, they only want to show you what's good. They only want to show you what's good. I am TJ the Will Deal. I sell puts, I sell calls for a living. I roll when it makes dollars and cents. I'm full transparent. I'm going to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. I'm just documenting this journey. And ultimately, it is for my son, but for my son, Jeremiah, so that he can know exactly what it is that I do for a living so that one day he can take over the reins. That's the game. So you guys are just recipients of that. It's like I got like the daily diary going for Jeremiah so he can do all his homework. And he'd be like, oh, this is what dad did when he was in the gym and that kind of thing. So we're going to get into it. We are going to get into it. What's going on, Manish? What is going on? Will, what's going on? Buy low, sell high. That's a good strategy. No work from Amit. It's this flight. Would have thought there would have been a tweet or something. He's too cool in Canada. What's going on, Matt Money? SJ, what's going on? So overvalued, it's crazy. Could be sure. I don't know about all that stuff. The only thing I need to know is that how I manage the position. And it's already been managed, so we'll talk about it. Having a beer by the pool here, right on. Thank you for the information. You're welcome. I was surprised when I saw I needed to roll right. Want to see today, it's all good. The work you do is appreciate you guys. Buenos dias. Right on. Appreciate you guys. Let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the spreadsheet. This one's easier on the eyes. Hey, what's going on, Megan? Hope you're doing well. And I made it a little bit bigger, and I've got it color coded so that it's just easier to follow. So I'm going to walk y'all through it. So the first position here is Clean Spark. So hopefully you guys can see that. I believe y'all can. Fantastic. So the first position is Amazon. So what's going on with Amazon? We've got 10,000 shares of Amazon. We've got the shares for sale at $205, expiring on 6/20. So it's out of the money. And now y'all going to see me make some adjustments here because I already see something that's in the money. So I'll just be adjusting the spreadsheet as we go. And then we've got the Clean Spark short strangle, whereby I don't own this batch of shares yet. I've got an agreement to buy shares and I've got an agreement to sell shares. So we're just kind of like running down the highway. If you will, we got the rails and we just need the stock to stay in the middle and not go off the rails, essentially. So we've got a cash put strike at 8, and we got a cover call strike at 11, and it's currently in the middle, right in the range at 913, but it's 2,000 contracts. This is a huge position, guys. Picked up a cool $106,000 in premiums. I've actually picked up more than that because I rolled, but I'm just leaving the initial premiums there because I don't want to jack with the spreadsheet too much right now. I'll adjust it after the fact. And that requires $1.6 million in collateral, theoretically, but it doesn't really require that much because it's a portfolio margin account, so it's a little bit different. But that's what it would require if all those shares got put on us, essentially. So we're doing okay there. But then we've got 25,000 shares of Clean Spark, and those are for sale at $9 in June. So those are in the money. So I'm going to put this guy here in red so that I know that it's in the money. And we'll go from there. And then let's talk about the in-phase short strangle. What's going on with in-phase? We've got a cash put at 45. We've got a cover call at 60. And it is in that range, closer to the cash put side than it is to the cover call. Why? Because earnings were terrible. We picked up about 13,000 there, and it's for 620. So you guys can see that if it stays at these levels, I might want to squeeze more juice out of the covered call. So how would I do that? I would lower the covered call from like say 60 to 58 or 55, bring in some more money, and that helps me manage the leg that's in trouble, if you will. So you're always just managing based on which strike is being challenged. An ideal situation, a Goldilocks situation, is for in phase to be at like $50 because then neither one of them is getting challenged. So that is how you deal with that. Hymns, same thing. Casket here put at 20, covered call at 35. Don't own any of these shares, so it's a short strangle, and it's currently, according to this spreadsheet, at $27. 25 contracts, picked up some decent premium for June. We're kind of in the Goldilocks zone right now. Let's talk about Hood. Got a short strangle on Hood. Casket here puts at 38. Hood is at 49 with a covered call at 55. And this is actually now at 40 because I just rolled these before I went live. And they're for 620. So I was like, well, let me get some more juice out of the casket puts. We're not going to challenge those. Let me go get that money that I could deal with these covered calls because we don't own these shares, right? So you have to manage these. And at some point, you got to be able to write out the duration of the contract or pretty close to it so you can milk all of these, so you can realize all these premiums. Because we're just collecting premiums here. You don't actually capture it until you exit stage left for the win. And you got to keep managing and managing. I would like to be done managing in June and minimize some of these positions. That's the ideal scenario, but sometimes you might find yourself in these strangles for 5, 6, 7 months before you widen out the highway long enough to where even if it's driving like a drunk driver, you'll be good, right? So it might take a while to create that situation for yourself. Marathon, it's a little bit different because this is a coverage strangle because I own the shares. So whenever you own the shares, there's less to manage on the upside. You still got to manage the cash secured put side if you want to get the shares put on you. So we've got cash secured puts at 12 and we've got covered calls at 15. But keep in mind, we own the shares here. So it's whatever. You don't have to manage to the upside if you're okay letting the shares go. Marathon is currently trading at 14.44. So we're in good shape there for June. So we'll see what happens. NVIDIA, short strangle. Cash secured put at 90. Covered call at 120. It's currently trading at 108. It's not bad. It's not bad. Not a whole lot to do there. Just kind of play a game called wait and see. Hurry up and wait. Palantir, short strangle. Again, don't own the shares. So we got to manage. So we got cash puts at 90. Cover calls at 120. It's trading at 109. I like it. The cover calls are being challenged. The cash puts not so much, but we're going to get the answers to the test. Why? Because earnings are coming up here soon. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll manage accordingly. Roll and expand. Roll and expand. That's always the game. You roll and then you expand your width, and it just makes it easier for the drunk driver to drive in between the lanes. That's essentially what you're doing. Or it's kind of like bowling. You have those guards up, right? So that you don't go into the gut. Right. Put covered call. The reason this isn't officially a short strangle, it's more of a covered strangle because we own 150,000 shares of Riot, so it gives us a lot more latitude. But we do have cash puts at $7, and we got covered calls at 10, 2,500 of them, but we only own 150,000 shares. So 1,000 of these covered calls are uncovered, if you will, or so they're naked calls, if you will. So we got to manage some of this position, but it's a lot easier to deal with it whenever you own the shares. Now let's talk about SoFi. We've got cash secured puts, covered calls, and leaps. So this position is set up the way ideally I would like all of the positions to be set up. But I've collected so much premium on SoFi that I can afford to do it on SoFi because the adjusted cost basis was so low. I could theoretically do it on Riot as well, but the IV is so high, it's just not optimal to buy leaps on a company like Riot. So that's why I play it a little bit different. The IV is a lot lower on SoFi, so buying leaps is a better strategy because whenever the premiums aren't as high, it's okay to be on the debit side of the equation. Whenever the premiums are really, really high, you'd rather be on the credit side of the equation. So I've got cash puts at 10 in the distance, 3,000 of them. So we're talking about an agreement to buy 300,000 shares of SoFi in January of 2026. And then we've got an agreement to sell all of those shares in June for 15 bucks. So I have a feeling those are going to get under pressure a little bit, but that's okay because that means that our leaps are printing because we got 3,000 leaps as well at $15. They were out of the money leaps. So those are absolutely printing. When we get into the actual brokerage, we'll see how well that position is doing. But now let's talk about the featured position of the day and of the channel now, right? Might as well call it, TJ the Wheel Deal Tesla edition or something because we got a massive short strangle on TSLL. We've got cash secured puts at 175 and at 200 for January. These are backstop trades. So those are absolutely printing. But then we've got the covered call side that is under pressure. These were at $275 for May the 16th. I rolled them out to June, went $295 on the strike price, and there's 315 contracts, guys. So this is something that is going to have to be managed and managed. What's the game plan if this shit just gets out of hand? Is to roll it to January, and then I've got the short strangle, an official short strangle, because on the short strangle, you want to have the same expiration date on the cash secured put in the covered call side. But I'm trying to milk this thing monthly if I can before I roll it out. So I'm just hoping that at some point Tesla flatlines a little bit and I collect all of that theta. But whenever you're doing the naked call, the short strangle, if you will, you got to be careful. You got to always have at least 50, 60 days in your pocket of extrinsic value. That way you don't wake up and your account's blown up because of all these early assignments. And also you got to have cash. We got $6 million of cash in the portfolio with another $3 million in transit. So I'm able to play this game. I can afford to play this game. I could take ownership of the fucking shares if we want to. And then I'll sell extremely aggressive cover calls against those shares. And I'll be like, please take those shares away now because the position would be like 90% Tesla. You know what I mean? And then I'd have to like sell Amazon. I'd probably have to sell Riot if all of those things happen so that I could raise cash, balance the books, make sure we're not in any type of due. If I chose to take ownership of 25,000 shares at say $279, because you do some math on that, it would be very expensive, right? Probably like 7 million or so. So that's what's going on with Tesla. But here's my little insurance policy. Not a big one, but it's an insurance policy nonetheless. Got 50,000 shares of TSLL, and I got 500 cash secure puts at 570, and I've got those shares for sale at 1070. And it's not a coincidence that they're also for 620 because I would need to raise some cash. I'd need to raise some cash. And that's $535,000 right there that I'd have coming to me that'll get freed up if those 50,000 shares got, sold, called away. Now I'm like, okay, cool. Got $500,000. I could just go fucking buy some long calls on Tesla and call life. So even though it appears to be risky, whenever you have the capital, you have the guts of the burglar, like I do, you have the temperament, you have the right mindset, and you have a game plan. It might be real hard for somebody else to manage. For me, quite frankly, it's just another fucking day at the office. That's just the way that I feel about it. Now, could this go against me in a real big way? What would cause it to go against me in a real big way? Tesla shoots up to like $500 overnight, which is extremely unlikely. But that would be like, oh shit, that's a head scratcher. I'd have to kick the shit down to January. And now instead of rolling for a massive credit, because I'm going to show y'all what that credit will look like, it would be rolling for like a $200,000 or $300,000 debit because I'm more interested in having a higher strike price to just get out of harm's way and not blow up the account. So there's a lot of gimmies and gotchas here, and we're going to talk about it. But I just wanted to give you a little snapshot action of how the account stands before we go into the actual brokerage, because the brokerage does in a photograph as well. What happened, baby? I'm on dog duty? Okay. Where are you going? What about my taco? I'm kidding, baby. Anyway, so that is what is going on in a nutshell. So now let me remove this guy right here, and I have to update the spreadsheet, but I'll do that offline. We're good. We're going to keep the party going. So now we're going to go present, share screen. We're going to go this way, share the entire screen. You also see kaleidoscope action. Perfect. And then we're going to put me over here on the bottom. Here we go. And then we're going to go and see what's going on with the portfolio. Down 16,000 for the day. Why? Because the cover calls were under. Right? That's why. If not, the portfolio theoretically would be printing today. But those are the gimmies and the gotchas. On the intermediate account, up 4,500, down 185 for the year. And the big account, down 20,000 for the day, 1.9 for the year. And that's just because it's star, right? SoFi, Tesla, Amazon, right? Those are all in the toilet year to date. That's why the account has a drawdown year to date. It's really that simple. And then on the little account, and we're going to talk about the little account today as well as the intermediate. So this isn't just going to be all big account. We'll start there. Let's start on the little account, my son's account. What's going on with that one? We've got Riot, 3,000 shares of Riot. So that part's good. Up quite a bit of money on those shares. But we got the shares for sale at $8, 21 days out. So I'm like, shoot, what do we got to do there? Well, what we got to do is we probably got to roll. We got some cash clear puts at 7, 5 of those. There's not as much buying power here, so I got to be more conservative. And then we have the cover calls at 8. So this is probably a good time to look to roll everything here pretty soon, because I don't want to sell Riot at 8. I want to try to ride these out to 9, 10, 11, 12 bucks because 3,000 shares. It's a lot of money. And the reason I got to milk that is because we're underwater on the leaps on SoFi. We're running the poor man cover call campaign on SoFi. So there's 110 long calls that are underwater. Now only 24%. There was a time that they were underwater about 67%, but SoFi finally caught a little bit of fire here the last couple of weeks. And now we're sitting in a much better spot. I'm running the poor man cover call campaign. So I've got the cover calls at 20 bucks for June. Picked up nice premiums on those. So it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good now. This position is looking much more manageable, which is really exciting. And then I've got TSLL, 500 shares of TSLL. Those printed a little bit of money. I've got 5 cash secured puts at 5.7, and I've got the shares for sale at 8.7. Those are in the money, and it's already for June. So you just got to wait it out, got to take the medicine, let the shares get called away potentially, and I can keep increasing the strike price from 5.7 to 6 to 7 to 8 and play that game. And we're just wheeling. We're just wheeling and dealing at that point because we're trying to get credits so that we can deal with this situation over here with SoFi. Now, whenever I can get to break even on SoFi or after June, I'm going to look to probably take half of that position off the table on SoFi. And if TSLL is like under 12, 13, then I'm going to try to go heavier on TSLL on the cash secured put side of things. We'll see what happens. I might balance the boat, but I got the 3 musketeers there, Riot, SoFi, and TSLL. Whenever it was in Robinhood, it was just strictly SoFi, essentially, and some Riot. But I brought TSLL into the equation, and I kind of wish that I had gone heavier, but I wasn't able to because I had already committed to SoFi. So that's how I got in that little situation, if you will. But I am happy that the portfolio is rebounding. Like it is legit rebounding. So I'm excited about that little portfolio there. I've deposited a total of $55,000 into that particular account. And I'm not exactly sure what the net liquidation value is. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. I don't show that much over here because it is tougher to do here and it shows account numbers and stuff. So I have to like get off of it first before I can do that. And then I got to like set it up accordingly. So I got to go here. I'm doing it offline right now for you guys. I'm going my accounts. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to get it pulled up and set up to where you guys aren't seeing account numbers and shit because some of y'all might not be up to no good. And here we go. So let me put it on the little one. TJ the Wheel Deal. Here we go. Okay, perfect. So how can I do it now? So now I'm going to go this way. Put myself down here. So there's that. Ran it in. There we go. So the net liquidation value is 52,000. I don't know if it lets me make it a little bigger. I guess it does. There we go. So the net liquidation value is 52,000. The options buying power is 74. Stock buying power is 14. Long stock value is 28. Long option value is 20. And then it says, just gives you the whole rundown there. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So that's what's going on with that one. Now let's go to the intermediate account. So in the intermediate account, we've got CleanSpark. What's going on with CleanSpark? It's just a short strangle. Cash secure put at 750, cover call at 1050. Easy peasy, Japanesey. There's not a whole lot to talk about there. So Riot, what's going on with Riot? There's 5,000 shares owned. We got cash secure puts buy 5,000 more shares at 6, and we got the shares for sale at 8. So it's getting to the point where it's time to roll this to the next cycle, bring in some more credits, expand the highway. Right now, the highway is from 6 to 8, so it can't be a drunk driver here. You're going to go off the rails, right? So ideally, I'd like to keep it at 6, maybe even increase it to 7, or leave it at 6 on the cash secured put side, but maybe go from 8 to 9 on the call side. And then eventually, as you expand the highway, even if you're a drunk driver, you can drive through there all the way to the finish line and be okay. SoFi, what's going on with SoFi? This one's a little bit busier of a position. We've got 400 cover calls at $15 from May the 16th. I think those are going to end up being okay. I know they're under pressure a little bit right now. It doesn't look good, but I think it's going to be okay. But we do have earnings next week, I think on Monday maybe. And then we've got cash secured puts, 200 of those at $10 for January of next year. And then we've also got leaps, 400 leaps at 15. So those leaps are already up 80%. My goodness, going well. So now let's see what's going on with TSLL. 5,000 shares owned on TSLL, doing pretty well on the actual shares, up 33% already. We've got an agreement to buy 10,000 more shares at 5.7, and we've got those shares for sale at 12.7. And there's a shitload of buying power, right? 279,000 on the option buying power, 559 on the stock buying power. So I'm very conservative with this particular account. So now let's go to the big account, because at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants to talk about, right? So this is just going to affirm everything that I showed y'all on the spreadsheet. We got the Amazon, and y'all see it there, the 10,000 shares, and the shares are for sale at 205 for June. So that's what's going on with Amazon. CleanSpark, y'all see the 25,000 shares there. You got the 2,000 cash secure puts at 8. We've got the 250 cover calls at 9, and part of the short strangle, we've got 2,000 cover calls at 11. So I've got pretty good width there from 8 to 11. It's not bad. I'd be more comfortable if the cover call was at 12, but on the next cycle, we can maybe expand it. But I might have to suck it up. We have to suck it up and gut it out, because if the Tesla position keeps going against us a little bit, and we've got to manage it more and more, I have to free up that capital on CleanSpark. So I'd have to eventually take those cash secured puts off the table and that strangle off the table, so I could free up the cash. Because you look at the capital requirements over here on the far right, we've got Amazon is requiring 467,000, CleanSpark's requiring $1 million, the Enphase position is requiring 120, Hims is requiring 39, Hood's requiring 47, Marathon's requiring 315, NVIDIA is requiring 94, Palantir's requiring 145. This is the cap requirements. Riot's requiring 1.6, SoFi is requiring 750, and then Tesla down there at 5.6, and TSO at 766. So it's like, where am I going to find the cash to manage that position? I would obviously have to get rid of some other positions that are absolutely on easy street. CleanSpark and Riot are on easy street, but since Tesla's not on easy street right now, I would have to use that capital to make sure that I'm adequately financed, adequately capitalized, so that I can manage and you don't blow up the account. So whenever you're going to do something like what I've done, you need to make sure that you legit or adequately capitalized, because it's a very capital intensive strategy. And when you're undercapitalized, it is going to elevate your blood pressure to the point where your heart could explode. So I don't recommend it for you. I just simply don't recommend it for you. So end phase, what's going on with end phase? We already talked about it. The highway 45 to 60, we're good. So that's when y'all see a short strangle. I want y'all to just think about it as a highway. 45 to 60, and she's driving 46.31. We're okay. A little on the low side. We need the bits to pick up some speed. You know what I mean? That's what we're looking for. So we got the highway at 20 and 35. Those are the borders, and him just driving at 27.55, 27.59. We're golden. Good. How's she driving? 40 to 50, 55. She's trying to do a little speeding there. 55 will be speeding, so we're like, hey, slow down a little bit. That's kind of what we're looking at there. Marathon, I hope y'all can appreciate that highway analogy, because that's how the short strangle was explained to me like 4 years ago, and it just made sense. I'm just sharing it with you guys. So marathons trading at 14.30. We got the highway set at, the parameters are set at 12 and 15. 12 on the low side, 15 on the high side. That's the sweet spot. So it's in the sweet spot. We're good. And we own 20,000 shares. So the high side's irrelevant. We don't care if it starts speeding because we already own the shares. When you don't own the shares, you care if it's speeding, right? Essentially. NVIDIA, 90 and 120. She's at 109. Nothing to look at. The only thing you can look at if you want to be like that guy and be more detailed is you can pull up the positions and see where you're at on the deltas. Like, are the deltas offsetting each other, or are you more delta heavy on the put side or the call side? Then maybe you can make some adjustments. But right now I got my hands full with other stuff, so I'm just looking at where are they traveling? Are they okay? Are they about to go off the rails? Is it something that I need to manage? If not, we're good to go, and I pay attention to something else. Palantir, 90 and 120. She's okay, but we can see that she's been speeding here lately, because that's why we're down on the covered call. So that means that there's been a movement positive to the upside. That's why the covered call is down, and we're not printing as much money on the cash secured put. So that tells me what? That we're being very conservative on the cash secured put, but that's okay, because I don't think Palantir is a good deal here. So I just want to make sure that this highway is plenty wide, and right now it's 30 wide, so I like it. Riot. We've got 150,000 shares. So when you own the shares, there's a lot of pressure that does not exist. That pressure is non-existent whenever you own the shares. That's why Marathon is one of those positions that doesn't cause a lot of stress, because it is legit a covered strangle. So it's kind of like you don't even have to manage it, especially if you're okay owning more shares at $12. This is one of those positions you can set it and forget it and learn to play golf. Go have fun with your family. I'd love for all of the positions to be set up that way, but that would be extremely capital intensive. So Riot, we've got the 150,000 shares. We've got cash secured puts at 7. We've got the cover calls at 10. I feel good about it. I don't feel great. I'd feel great if the cover call was like at 11 or 12. But in the next couple of cycles, we can expand it, and then you can feel much better about the position. SoFi, we talked about it. There's the 3,000 covered calls. This is now for June at 15, and I don't feel great about it. And this thing says I shouldn't feel great about it, down 56%. What I do feel good about is the cash secured puts in the distance at 10. Those are printing up a cool $250,000 on those. Holy shit. I could take those off, lock in the win, free up a bunch of capital. That's something that I could do too. But I'm like, there's $387,000 easy money there, and there's no roll. There's nothing here. So that's real money. And I'm like, that money could come in handy if Tesla keeps being a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? So anytime that I got some winners there, I'm going to milk those winners when I've got something that's potentially going to turn into a big pain in the ass down the road. So that's what's going on with that. And then the leaps are printing up 39% on those, up a cool $260,000 on those. So not bad. That SoFi position is looking beautiful. And I'm really glad that I sold the 150,000 shares of SoFi, because the premiums just weren't there. I chose to play it a different way, and it's kind of working out. So now let's look at the future positions of the day. They're right here on the bottom. And this is just one big position in my mind, because in order to do what I'm trying to do with Tesla, I needed that insurance policy on the bottom, which is TSLL. So we're going to talk about it in tandem. So what do we got going on? We got 6,500 shares of Tesla owned at $261, and it's currently trading at $282. So that part's good. let's talk about the things that are a little bit risky. They're not so good for you, but I feel like it's a commanding position for me, and I'm built for this thing. There's a reason I call myself TJ the Will Deal. I pressure makes diamonds, guys, and I'm one of those people that I love pressure. I thrive on it. Some people are like, oh, you're too much of an adrenaline junkie. All of those things, guys, you just got to stay in your lane and you got to do you, and I'm doing me. I'm just gutsy enough to chronicle the whole thing. I'll show you the good, the bad, the ugly, and the different. And I don't give a shit if you judge me because I'm very secure in who I am as a person. So that's what's going on here. We've got the 350 covered calls at 295. Those are now out of the money. I took some pressure off of the position, but we did roll some negative equity into that position. So keep that in mind. It says the extrinsic value is $793,000. I certainly didn't collect $793,000 in premiums for this play. Collected more like 350 to 400. I'd have to do the math on it to be sure. Or Tasty Trade's done the math on it. I just have to go look at it. But this is the part that makes me feel real good about the position. Before I did all the naked call stuff, what people seem to forget is that I sold now 500 cash secure puts in the distance, backstop trades, and those are printing cash money records, guys. We've got 250 cash secure puts at 175, and about 90% of that extrinsic value is real because there was a little bit of a roll in 35 contracts that I had at 200 and at 220 or 230 that were for May the 16th, and I kicked those down the road. So the premium is real, is what I'm saying, to the tune of about 95% on the cash, on the backstop trades. And I'm already up 42% on those, real money. And then on the cash secure put at 200, that is about 95% accurate too on the extrinsic value at 488,000, up $191,000 on those. So this is what I do know. Eventually, these covered calls are going to match the expiration date of the cash secured puts, and I'm going to have a big, wide highway. I'm thinking Tesla's going to be in that $375 range, maybe $400 range. And then I've got 175 and 200. Eventually I'm going to match those up either at 175 or 200. So I'm not going to have the little stagger, if you will. Like I'm going to match those up first of all, but I got to go win some other positions because that's going to require capital if I go from 175 to 200. So that's one thing that I'm looking to do. And then the other thing is eventually, but I want to wait it out as long as I can. Hopefully a couple, 2 or 3 weeks, or I could just go month to month to month to month. That's the ideal scenario. So if I get rejected or Tesla gets rejected at some point, it chills out, it goes sideways. That's good for me because I'm collecting massive amounts of theta at that point. But it's all going to depend on that buying power. You see that options buying power is at 1.1. It was at like 1.5, 1.6. But Tesla started getting challenged. The covered call started getting challenged, or the quote unquote naked call started getting challenged. So my options buying power started diminishing. So those are all the things. It's like flying a plane. You got to understand what all the gauges mean. So Tasty Trade doesn't like the way this position is set up right now. Tasty Trade would probably prefer if I kick this can down the road now, and let me show y'all what that looks like. Like Tasty Trade would probably prefer if I took that off the books over there and I rolled it and I matched it up, and look what it would do to the buying power. And they're like, hey, I understand what you're trying to do, but this is what we need you to do so that we feel better about it. So let's just say I went to like 370, if you will, 42 delta. I get, $11 in credit roughly, hit review and send, pick up a cool $346,000, take all the pressure off the position and the portfolio, and you see what the buying power effective. It increases it 1.1 to the good, and I could just go like this for at least probably 3 months or so. And then now I'm just dealing with it like any other strength. But I don't want to do that. I want to milk it. I want to milk it. Why? Because the technicals say the technicals say that Tesla could potentially get rejected and come back down, and it could come back down, believe it or not, to like that $175 range. So I don't want to lose this opportunity because I didn't like the way the pressure felt, guys. I think that I'm going to win this trade. I don't know if it's going to happen in this June cycle. It might not be until the July cycle, the August cycle, but these are things that I know about the market. People sell in May and then they go away. So I know that that's coming for me. Summer months are a little bit slower in the stock market. They just are. People are on vacation. They're traveling. They're doing stuff. They ain't monitoring this shit as closely as they normally do. This is just my experience in the market. I know Tesla's a different monster and all that stuff, but I'm going to revert back to the fundamentals. They just had one of the shittiest earnings in their history, at least over the last 5 or 6 years. So that happened. That happened. I know there's a lot of positive news now in Norway and FSD and robo taxis in Austin and all that stuff. That's great. I'm still looking at net income negative to the no bueno 70% year over year. I'm still looking at the fact that they missed earnings to the tune of about 35% to the no bueno. Those things happen. Those things are mathematically true. They're not selling as many units as they used to. I understand the story. I understand all that stuff. Eventually, they don't even need to sell cars. The cars are going to show up. People are just going to rent cars. It's going to be cheaper to just do robo-taxi and don't need a car. I get all of that stuff. I'm a perma-bull for Tesla long term. But short term, I think that the story is a lot more bearish than that. There's a lot of execution risk there. How many times has Elon Musk promised something and it takes an extra year, 2 or 3 to deliver to come to fruition? We're one little news article that says robo-taxi postponed 30 days, 45 days, anything, and this shit could come crashing down to like $200 just like that. That's why I don't want to roll to January prematurely. I don't want to do it. If the pressure becomes too much, it feels too uncomfortable. I see that options buying power dipping to like 500,000, 400,000, 300,000. And I don't have anything else that I can get out of to free up cash because I rolled everything when I didn't really think that it was the right thing to do when I rolled Clean Spark and Riot the other day because those were expiring on May the 16th. I was like, maybe I should write those out now so I can have that cash in my back pocket, if that makes sense. But I chose to write it out because it was an extra couple $100,000 in premiums. And I was like, this is an easier play than the Tesla play right now. So let me go grab that money and I'll just stick it out. I knew there was money going into the portfolio anyway. So that was going to help out as well. Because within the next 30 to 45 days, there's $3 million going into the portfolio. So I was like, yeah, I think that I can just keep them on because that $3 million is going to really allow me to stay in the driver's seat with this particular position. That's why if you're ever going to do anything like this, and I highly recommend that you don't, that is financial advice. I recommend that you don't. I don't think I can get in trouble for telling you to do something that would just be good for you. You know what I mean? But I knew that with the amount of money that we had going into the portfolio, I could afford to play this game. And I also know that my temperament could handle it. I wasn't going to freak the fuck out. A lot of y'all would probably freak the fuck out, start pushing a bunch of buttons and doing a bunch of stupid shit, blowing up your account. I have a game plan that I'm executing. The only part of the game plan that I have failed was the game plan called for me to have 100,000 shares of TSLL, because this is what also is true. If TSLA is printing, that means that TSLL is printing even bigger. And I got the 50,000 shares of TSLL up already 36% on those. I got an agreement to buy another 50,000 shares at 5.7. And I've got an agreement to sell those shares at 10.7. Those shares get called away. That frees up another $500,000 or so. And boom, I can go manage the TSLA position. But I feel like this was my insurance policy. But I also feel like I'm underinsured. Like looking at the position play out and everything, I really should have scooped up the additional 50,000 shares. I had actually gotten on the phone with fucking Tasty Trade because they had limits on how many shares you could buy outright. They increased the limits to 100,000 shares for us so I can execute this thing because I can own more than 100,000 shares, but it's via assignment. I'm talking about an actual purchase. The limit is 100,000 shares of any one underlying on Tasty Trade for us right now. As we build the relationship, they'll increase the parameters for us. But right now, they capped us out at $100,000. We'd have to go get more approval to try to increase that to 250,000 because I told them what I was trying to get done with this particular position. So I needed the firepower. I needed the ammunition to be able to buy the insurance policy instead of buying long calls, instead of like buying protective puts or any of that stuff. It's like, fuck all that. I don't like doing that. Those are eroding assets. I want to buy shares. I'll buy shares of this underlying here, the 2 times leverage on Tesla. And I'd rather buy an insurance policy that doesn't expire unless I put an expiration date on it called the covered call. So I was like, well, I'll match that covered call to the naked calls, and that will help me out because it forces me to liquidate so I could deal with the situation at hand. But I just feel like I'm underinsured. I really would be more comfortable if there was another 50,000 shares owned, but I'm like, I don't want to spend, $500,000 right now to go buy another 50,000 shares. So it is what it is, but at least I already have the position in play at 5.7. So I could just keep increasing it and increasing it and increasing it, and at least make it worthwhile collecting pretty good premiums along the way. And I can't roll that one anymore, though. That's the gimme and the gotcha, because unless I'm able to get out of the Clean Spark, the Riot, I can't roll and milk more money on my insurance policy on TSLL. It would be done. It would become whole, because I would need that money to deal with TSLA if it kept going on the Moonshot. And I got stubborn and I didn't want to roll it all the way out to January. So that's what's going on in a nutshell. Now I'm going to close everything out and we're going to talk. So we'll do live Q&A. It kind of becomes like an episode of Wheelers at this point. So let me see where we are at. Here we go. We finished with that one. What's going on, Shamu? What is going on? Morning, Wheelers. Daniel, you do a bit of fundamentals and realize it's a joke you can buy on Hopium for the future, but why not let them prove it first? Better value with others and 10 times less risk. What are your thoughts on selling long-term cash? It's my backstop trades. That is the cornerstone to my strategy, guys. The cornerstone to my strategy is selling cash secured puts out in the distance, an oversized position. I take all of those premiums. I sell shorter dated cash secured puts. I look up 30, 40, 50% annualized on that portion of the portfolio. I just feel like at some point I'm going to have to just do that. And that's all that I do. And then I just take all of those premiums and I sell a couple of short dated puts along the way just to keep me busy. But the backstop trades have constantly printed money for me over the last 3 years now. What's going on? Edgex, Soccer Shop Club, TJ, Matthew, man, little risky if trying back esoteric markets might really rip and interest rates cutting. Perhaps. But at the end of the day, Tesla's overvalued by a long shot right now, guys. That's just how I believe. That's what I believe. And that's where my money is. So this is like me not having a discussion, me not trying to justify anything. I'm the guy that just shows you my fucking place. You can make of it what you will, but I'm not here for the debate or the drama. I'm here for the dollars. My dollars say I don't think that's going to happen. And even if it does, what kind of multiple is the market really going to give Tesla right now? The earnings still suck last time I checked. I was there too. I listened to the earnings call along with most of you, and they absolutely suck. They were horrific. Is that a shameless plug with the clover on the hat? I don't understand. This is just a hat that I bought at the Venetian in Vegas. I liked it. Why not a spread for extreme moon protection? Because that's just not how I want to play the position. Worst case scenario is sell your shells at a profit, not necessarily. What's going on, Dougie Dollars? Damn, wish Tesla stayed down. We'll see what happens. Watch the ticker, Rob. And right now, I do not have time for anything else. I got my hands full. Maybe down the road, I'll check out anything else. But right now, the portfolio is full. In fact, I can't wait for some of these short strangles, these little 25s. The little 25s like on the end phase, the the Robinhood, that stuff. I can't wait for that shit to come off the books. That way my focus is on, stocks, SoFi, Tesla, Amazon, and Riot. And then I got Clean Spark and Marathon. And then that would essentially be it. Maybe Hood. Everything else, call life good. I don't even know if Palantir would make that particular cut. 1 second, guys. I think somebody's at the doorbell. Give me a second and I'll be right back. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I'm back away. Back away. Back away. Throw down. Throw down, man. You want to come on YouTube with me? You want to come on YouTube, Gavin? You don't give a shit about Tesla or YouTube or anybody? You just care about yourself. What's up, Papa Shorty? There you are. You want to say hi? Tell him, don't be a little bitch. Gavin says, don't be a little bitch with your portfolio. Kidding. All right, where else have we got here? About 90 days out. No, I definitely would not recommend that. Man, Tesla is one of those things, man. It's such an irrational stock. Be careful. So to me, anything under 90 days is very, very short term in the market. For most people, anything under a year is pretty short term. That's some orange juice here, guys. If I was a drinker, it'd probably be something else in orange juice. My wife does champagne. I think they're called mimosas or something like that. She does that. It feels like it's mostly champagne and a little bit of the orange juice for color. Alex Sueta, what's going on? Glad to be on. Appreciate you. Brandon Galdi. Good afternoon to you too. Hey, TJ, ever tried playing SVIH? One nice plays on the Wix? No, I've not. I definitely should look into that whenever I have my hands is for it. Hey, TJ, no. Hey, what's going on, Steph? James Velez. Any tactics if you're 60% under on a stock to will your way out of it, couldn't control the downside on the stock? One thing that you can always do to stop the bleeding is you could just buy a put, right? You could just buy a put if that's what you wanted to do. Turn it into a defined risk strategy. Agreed, but with Tesla, all that changes with a tweet from Elon. It could. Good afternoon from the Atlantic Coast. Robin is a 2-time lever. Oh, right on. I like, that's interesting. Thank you. That's interesting. Might be good, That's interesting. Thank you so much. Nice chair. This chair right here, my wife bought it for me. I don't even know the brand, but it's like for like bigger people. It's a very comfortable chair. There's actually another chair that I want that does massage and it has a little recliner feature, but it was like $1,500. This one was like $500 or $600, and I told my wife that I wanted that chair, and she just kind of gave me that look of like, well, what are we going to do that chair? So I didn't get the thumbs up on it, So I'm like, I was like, I couldn't think of anything to do with this particular chair. Can TJ see these chats on the X stream? Yeah. So whenever I'm streaming on StreamYard and I go live on both sides, whenever somebody comments from YouTube, it has a little YouTube symbol. And then when somebody comments on the X side, it has the X symbol. So that's how that works. Hey, what's going on, BR? Bala. Gotta love the fluffy ones. Doesn't matter what type of day you had, they're there for you. That's a fact. TJ, how many stocks would you have with a $100,000 account? No more than four. No more than four. I just wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. So I'm looking over here, see if there's anything else. Yeah, Tesla's calmed down a little bit. I'm just looking at it on the. I'm looking at the portfolio right now. Let me do this. Let me put myself over here. Put myself over here. Kaleidoscope action. And let me do better yet. Let me do a little invite here in case if anybody wants to join. We're just shooting the shit here. You know, it ain't on or anything, so we're all trying to kill time. I watch his channel just as much as you guys do. That's why I usually don't go on until he's about to come on. You know, he's about to come out because I'm like, what? Hard for me to go live when I'm watching him. So let's see what's going on here. So Amazon good, still CleanSpark good. It looks like the options buying power has kind of like chilled out. I mean, guys, this was at like 4.5 on the cap requirements on Tesla, and the shit shot up substantially whenever those couple calls went in the money early this morning. I'm really loving this Palantir, the Palantir play. I can't believe Palantir's at these levels again. This is just one of those companies that I'm done trying to understand the valuation, and I'm just like, can I make money with it? Yes. How? The short strangle. So just keep playing that game. I'm not going to look to increase the strike price on the cash secure put though until we're on the other side of earnings. I'm kind of hoping that there's a little bit of a pullback on earnings. NVIDIA is very easy to play at these levels. I mean, if they could all be set up like NVIDIA, I could just sleep easy at night. Marathon is a new positions making money. The hood position 40 and 55. I feel pretty good about it. I'd feel better if this was at like 60 on the cover call side. So eventually I'll look to, we'll expand on the next roll. HIMS, I feel good about HIMS at those levels. End phase feels good. I do feel like I can roll this one down though. Bring a little more credits because HIMS ain't gonna go to those levels right now. Yeah, I could bring in some nice credits there. Let's do that. I'll let him win. That way I can get it filled quickly. So go from 60 to 55, bring in another 3,900. There we go. So there's that. Like it. So I narrowed the. I don't see a reason why she's going to go up. If anything, I would see a reason for it to go down. So now I'm going to go to the spreadsheet. So now I'm going to go to the spreadsheet. Let me see if there's anything that I could do over here though first. Hold on. 70, 50, 10. I feel good about that one. Riot 6 and 8. And this is the tasty trade way right here. This is 21 days out. Yeah, let me just roll this whole position here. Keep that there, but I'd like to expand this one. So it's some credit. It's not great. It's yeah. I was able to expand the highway a little bit. Six and 9, I like it. How's SoFi looking? 15. I do feel like this one needs to go to roll this one to the June cycle. And I'd like to expand it. That doesn't bring a lot of money, does it? No, not really. See how it goes. Let it stew. And how's TSLL doing? And I feel like this one could get rolled a little bit. Let's see if I can roll this one, just roll it up. There we go. Bring in some more credits there. That's not bad. Now let's look at the little one. What's going on here with Jeremiah's account? 7 and 8. I could roll this entire thing right here. Roll expirations. Let's go to that June cycle. Try to expand a little bit there. Let's go right there so you can fill. It's not bad. $220. We'll take it. There we go. You got a nickel and dime your way there when you're with the smaller account. So now it's 7 to 9. I'm liking it. There's more upside, qualified for more on the upside. I like it. SoFi, I don't have anything to do with SoFi. I can't lower the strike on the short call. Also, this is a nice little teaching segment for you guys. Whenever you have an out of the money call, like right here, we have them at 20. Let me make sure that I'm showing this to you guys. It is, yeah, it is. Okay. Hey, what's going on, Option? I'll be with you in 1 second, brother. Whenever you have a long call that's out of the money, like in this case at 20, when you go try to sell a short call at like say 15, you need to bring all the collateral to the table. And since there's not a lot of money in this particular account in general, that's why I make sure that I at least match the strike prices. So it's not optimal to run the poor man cover call strategy with out of the money long calls. That's why people buy the 70, 80 deltas whenever they buy those leads, and they're going to run that strategy. So just keep that in mind. And I like this right here. And I've already gone over there. So the only way that I could roll this one up more if I wanted to is I'd have to roll the 5-7 up, try to get some more credits there, and use those credits to finance the debit on the short call side. But I don't feel like doing it. I'm kind of okay with just letting the shares get called away, and then I could just play 4 horses, right? And SoFi, which is I'm comfortable there too. So anyway, let me minimize this bad boy here. And I feel good about it now, guys. I feel really, really good about it. And let me get rid of all of this stuff right here. And let's bring on Mr. Option himself.
What's up, man? How you doing, man?
Look at my hands. I ain't even shaking. Are you proud of me?
Of course. You know I am.
Talk to me, Option, because Option, there's a lot of text messages here. Where Option is guiding and coaching me along the way, and it might not feel like we're always agreeing when we're talking to the audience, but they don't see the conversations that we have offline, right?
Yeah.
And I am doing my best to follow the Tasty Trade way here for the most part, but I still got. I do have the guts of the burglar. I do have that temperament. I have that high risk tolerance. We got the big ass bankroll to match it. So I got to play my game at the end of the day. I got to play my game. But let's talk. Let's chit chat. My wife brought me a breakfast taco. Didn't eat dinner last night, so because I wanted to eat the breakfast taco. So you got to pick your spots in life, right?
Oh yeah, you better.
I was willing to sacrifice dinner to have this breakfast taco.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We were watching this show, Ransom Canyon. This is already my second time watching it.
Name of it?
Ransom Canyon.
Oh, okay.
With Josh DeHamo and some lady named Minka Kelly. I think she's Derek Jeter's ex-girlfriend. I think she came out on a series called Friday Night Lights. Dude,
It's
I
good.
watched it. I watched it. I liked it.
Oh,
And I was
yeah.
like, I think my wife will like it because we saw that show Virgin River,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like it was very Virgin Rivery, if you will.
Okay, I see it. I'm gonna give it a look.
And dude, it's a good one to watch with your old lady.
Okay.
And then this is like a little westerny, so
Mhm.
you got that element to feel like a man because you're watching kind of something sappy, right?
Yeah.
But then you got the cool little love stories, and it's all fucking
Okay.
convoluted, and it's great. I'm like a teenage girl at heart, I think, because I watch chick flicks. So
You know,
it felt good to get it off my chest.
and so I might give this a watch.
Ransom Kangen, baby, Ransom Kangen. It's good.
I got it. I just looked it up. I got it right there.
Mm.
I'll give it a look. It's a series too, right?
10 episodes.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
We watched it in 3 days.
Oh yeah, it must definitely be good then.
Dude, it was awesome, bro. It was awesome. And
Mhm.
it's got good looking women, good looking men on there. So both of y'all are winning. So
Okay.
just little marital advice for your option.
Uh-huh.
When the pretty girl's on the screen, you could at least blink a little bit so you don't get in trouble.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know how to keep my eyes straight.
And then you always want to say, she's pretty, baby, but she's nothing compared to you. I'm giving y'all some gold here. I'm giving y'all some gold for the bedroom right now. She's pretty, but she ain't got nothing on you. Oh my God, you're so sweet.
Definitely. I tell you, man. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a look. That's decent. I'm gonna give that a look. Yeah, I saw you on. I had saw the text message. I had text you back because I was out, but shit, I came back in. I said, I saw you still on. I saw the link. I said, well, shit, let me jump on and see what's going on.
Yes, sir. So what do you think? So let me pull up the position so you can dissect it.
Mhm.
So let me go over here because I'm really into this taco right now. So let me pull up because I'm using both of these positions as in tandem, if you will.
Mhm.
So it's right there on the bottom. You know how to read it. Or I devour this taco.
What? Say that again. I missed it. I didn't hear what you saying.
I'm saying, can you see the positions or no?
Yeah. I see him.
I'm saying I'm using Tesla and and TSLL as one big position because all the money that I make on TSLL helps me get out of the bind with Tesla if it turns into a big bind. But I rolled it out to the June cycle, and we're sitting at 295 now, out of the money comfortably for the time being. And then I still have the backstop trades out there, right? The 175 put and the 200 put. My options buying power is still pretty stout at 1 million and some change. It did come down quite a bit though when they went in the money. It was at like 1.5. So that's kind of what I'm monitoring, right? And then also the cap requirement was like at 4.6, 4.7 yesterday on Tesla, and it went all the way up to 5.7.
Yeah, because it's that naked call.
No, it's because now they're under pressure, right? So they do their little algorithm, whatever the hell they do. So that's the stuff I'm monitoring, right? And I've already played the game where if I wanted to roll it all the way to January to make it a real strangle, it frees up like 11, like a million, 1.1 in buying power, and I can take in like 300,000 or 400,000 in credit. Then expand the highway, if you will, right?
No, it's tough, but I mean, I would definitely. I mean, me personally, I would sell something in that 56 day.
You're talking about sell put.
Yeah. I had sent you that text message. I was on the road when I had texted you and sent you that. But like I said, my only reason for doing that would be because if it continues to go up, I will continue to roll up that put. And now with the credits that I'm receiving, if I have to then manage that 295, I would
Yeah.
be using all those credits to expand my break even a little bit.
So what I had thought about doing, Austin, hear me out. What I had thought about doing was over here on the 175 put. I thought about rolling those to 200 because that would bring me in quite a bit of credits because it's sitting at from 12 to 19, 250 times over. But I wanted to see what that would do to my buying power, right?
Go to your trade table and let me see that position.
I was thinking about rolling this one over here and bringing in all those credits, and then now I'm positioned at 200, and then eventually I want to be sitting at 400 in January on the call side, and I feel like I'm kind of on easy street at that point for a while. That way, I don't have another position to manage in between, if that makes sense. But I didn't. But I hadn't even played with it to see like what it would do to the buying power and stuff.
The only thing is, I mean, with that, it's just it doesn't. For me, it doesn't really make that much money. You know what I mean? Especially when you're dealing with, like, say, for instance, Tesla in the shorter term, because, like, you think about it on a $23 move up today, that those options only lost $2-3 of value. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I did pick up on those.
Yeah,
you know, you're talking about $147,000.
Yeah, but I mean, that's, you know, on a in your closer dated cycle. And go back to let me give you an example of what I mean. If you go to the trade table, if you look where we was just at, all right, just look to your right where you have your net change, because I use that a lot. See, it only picked up $1.90 of value, but go to your 56 day and look at that 175. It didn't. That's so far to the money. It didn't even all right.
No, but if I sold something right here option, I'd probably be selling the 220 or something like that.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's what I would have to do. I would probably go to the go to Delta real quick and put up implied volatility. Go to your Delta. No, and change that. Come up to implied vol right beneath touch percentage.
Yeah, I see it. Okay.
I will probably go up. Let me see. Scroll up a little. Yeah, I would probably do like the 210. Yeah, the 210 will be fine. That's fine. And remember, like I said, you know, yesterday, you know, the IV rank was at 20. Now it jumped back up to 40. So I'm definitely I would jump in there and
but something's wrong because it's showing me a debit. There's no
you had bought it.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I would sell that. But honestly, I would match. I will match the contract because you got to bring in some more money if that keeps going up. Because what I would do is continue to roll that up, and if I have to turn that into a straddle, I would be turning that into a straddle. Give it some time, roll out to the next expiration, take that 295 probably up to 350. You know what I mean? But you know, I wouldn't take it all the way out in time. That's because it's gonna be such a slow moving trade, man. It's just gonna be so slow, man. That's just the thing. It's gonna be so slow.
I mean, I hear you, but let's just look at it though. Like if you look at it objectively, been in this trade 25 days and made 445,000 if I took it off right now. On the puts, right? Mm-hmm. And it's easy and it's sleep easy at night. So like, what would that look like? Does it tell you what it would do to the buying power if I just said I wanted to close it and I wanted to like legit be naked? Like,
close what?
If I wanted to close the puts.
All right, just close both of them. Just right click on them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Close entire position, right?
Yep.
But it ain't gonna do it. It's gonna tell me to review.
No, because you gotta review it. As long as you don't click it twice, you fine. But the only thing is, hold on. Hit that minimize that, distract the 260 day. Yeah, minimize that because minimize the 56-day one as well.
Okay.
I thought you had something. Okay. All right. Yeah. Now just review it. Hit it one time.
Review.
Yep. Just one time.
Hey.
No, no. But see, you're gonna be giving back 790. 4,000.
Well, yeah, but it's because that's what the extrinsic
Yeah.
value is.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's still
I'm
profitable.
saying that's how much easy money I have left on the table in my mind. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, but that would also take a lot of pressure off the position as well. I could lock in a fucking huge win because the idea was like, because I mean, I played with this thing 10 different ways, right, in my mind. So I'm like, I could do that, and then now I could go sell 315 short dated cash secured puts matching the 620s,
Yeah.
and now I've got a legit short string.
Yeah. And then
I locked in a huge win over here on the backstop trade.
Mm-hmm. And then we can work from there because we can get out of this. It's just, you got to sell the other side, right? You got to.
Which I have, but the deltas aren't offsetting enough because I'm very conservative on those backstop trades. So what would it look like though? Like, because I have considered.
Now go click on trade and edit that order though, because you still got it sitting.
Where?
You remember? Did you close out the trade?
I cleared out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, no, but what I did think about doing though is going from 175 to 200 because that's going to help me. And then now I've got everything matched up, and then I can eventually, like, I could potentially even look to roll in, right? Like I could put it as a basket and then roll it in a few months until eventually I can match around August or September. Because I mean, I'm trying to be in this thing for 3 to 5 years. Like this isn't anything that I was trying to get out of, like just a one hit wonder. This is something that I want to be a staple in the portfolio for the next 3 to 5 years. And I want to make a shitload of money with it, right? But you got to be willing to handle the pressure. Yeah. So what would it look like? How would I, if I just wanted to do this right here, you just roll strikes up, right? Essentially.
No, just always hit close.
Well, this is what and then I just go like this, like that, right? And then I would
that's gonna probably cost you.
Why would it cost me if I'm rolling up in credit? I'm rolling up in strike, you would get credit.
Yeah, that's gonna cost you because when you roll in the puts, majority of the time you're gonna have to pay to roll that put up.
No.
Unless time then went by.
You're taking on more risk. They're gonna pay you a credit option.
Yeah.
So I went from 175 to 200, and it says there that I'm getting 161,000 in credit, but it's reducing my buying power by 125,000.
Yeah.
That's the collateral that you need to be able to go from 175 to 200 in case if you had to ultimately own those shares at 200.
Exactly. I mean, just me. I would do it the first way.
I hear you. Remember what we said on the other stream though. This is the one where I got this. You helped me on all the other stuff. I got Tesla. We're good. So I just the only thing that I could play different, and I freaking wish that I had.
Well, you got to do something about that 295, man. You got to.
I just addressed it.
No, I'm saying you gotta pull in some more money, man. You got to
pay 47,000 when I rolled it.
No, I'm talking about on the put side. Because I mean, this.
Yeah, but if I go sell puts right now, I feel like that's going to lower my options buying power quite a bit.
Come out of the, like how you said, come out of the 266 days. Come out of both of those and use that to come to the shorter dated cycle. Get yourself out of that jam.
But then I'm having to give back a lot of that easy money. Like, why do I want to go from easy money to hard money?
Like,
I'd rather ride it out on Clean Spark and Riot and free up all that collateral, and then there's nothing to worry about here.
Okay, well, I mean, however you choose to is great, but you have to put some puts on that Tesla. You have to. Yeah,
but if I do puts, like I feel like it's just gonna really eat up my power. Let's see what it looks like. I just feel like it'll eat up my power.
You're gonna have to pay for it, but you got to remove something to pay for that.
Well, man, I got plenty of money still. It's not like this thing's about to go on margin call or anything. Let's not exaggerate the situation.
Now we not, but I mean, if you're profitable on other positions, you can remove those to defend this position. So so you're not.
Yeah, I ain't gonna give back easy money. Like to me, like
Right,
I'm not gonna. There's no way I'm closing out those backstop trades. Dude. That's just the easiest money.
Well, it's other trades, not just the backstop.
Yeah.
The backstop trade.
So if I go here and I go say, I don't know, just 50 to.
It would have to be 315.
No, it doesn't have to be 315 because I own 6,500 shares. So it would be 250. Because not all of those calls are naked. Because I have 6,500 shares.
Okay, 250.
Do you follow me?
All right.
So, but you see, that would take all my buying power, so I can't do that. Because then now it's like I'm having to look at this shit 10 times a day. So I'm not. I'm not in a position to do that right now.
I would have to come. I mean, because now what you have to think about though. Just think about this thought. Even what. So you're just going to roll that out to like January if you get tested again?
No, I'm going to go to the next cycle. I'm playing for eventually. I mean, dude, like when people get in these buys, like y'all act like Tesla's just gonna go to like 400 just cause.
Oh well, I mean, not me personally, but I mean the way in which I manage it, I don't have to worry about it because I got, if it continue to go, I can continue to aggressively roll my puts down. So all of the credits that I'm receiving from my puts will then allow for me, if I'm in a straddle with that Tesla position. So if I'm matching up where you was at like 220 to 295, just imagine all the credits that I've taken in. Now I can reposition that trade to use those credits to now move Tesla from, let's say, 295 to 350, and it doesn't hurt me.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also another thing that I could do, right? Let's just call it what it is. Like to me, then another thing that I could do is like I go right here. And where's this guy right here? Excuse me. So this guy right here, right? Mm-hmm. Another thing that I could easily do, because I've taken in so many credits, is I could simply roll the strike up. Like I could go like right here.
Well, how much credits did you take in on that roll?
I've taken in a lot, dude, like over 400,000. So I could essentially give back 230,000.
Yeah, you can do that.
And then I mean, dude, there's like a lot of shit in the toolbox. I just feel
like but I mean, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't be sitting $10 away right now.
I also have 56 days. I mean, you make it sound like I'm going to wake up and they're going to put these shares on. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. Or take these shares away that I don't own. So you'd obviously have to make good, because let's do the math, right? We're talking about $295 times 25,000 shares, right? Because the other 6,500 are already owned, so that's irrelevant. So you're shit. So 295 times 25,000 shares. Did I do that right? 295.
Just 29,500.
Yeah, it's like 7.375 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you'd have to deliver, right? That's why this is very dangerous, right? You have to now go look at, okay, what's the cash balance like? 6.1. So that's not enough. So obviously I'd be tapping into margin and all kinds of crazy shit at that point, right? But you don't want that to happen. So this is why option is harping on this point, guys, is because this is this shit spikes up. You wake up on Monday and it's at like 310, 320. Mind you, you don't own the shares yet or anything, but it's a lot harder to manage these positions from behind, is what he's trying to say.
So if you go to the trade table and you look at go to the trade table, that can easily be, going for that 295 can easily be going for, $32. So I mean, that's where it becomes more difficult. Because if it's going for $32 and you at 23 and you subtract that and multiply, that's an easy multiple. And that's going to reduce your buying power, right? That's why I'm looking at it like, oh, it'd be all good if it just dropped. You'll get the buying power back. But, I don't play that because I don't know nothing, right? I just know how to be aggressive and manage.
So here's another thing. Again, now we're talking about all the things you can do, right? So let's So let's talk about that and let's educate the audience, right? So you go over here. You go over here. Let me remove. Give me a second. Oh, looks like a little baller is trying to join. So give me a second. I have 315 naked call. Actually, it's 250. It's not 315. Naked calls on Tesla at.
What is it?
Hold on one second. I'm asking AI. Hold on. At 295 strike for 620. What's the best way to manage? And this thing is going to give you all kinds of shit, right? So check this out. This is a real nice teaching segment for you guys. So if I hit, how do I do this? Stop, present, share screen. So you guys see that? Can you see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 months, guys, and this thing is pretty good about giving you all the options at hand, right? So it says managing naked call on Tesla at 295 strike for 620 requires a proactive approach. Here's a breakdown on how to manage your position. Monitor Tesla's performance, daily tracking. Keep a close eye on Tesla's stock price. If the price moves significantly above 295, your calls will be assigned and you'll be required to sell shares at the strike price, potentially incurring a loss. Underlying sentiment. Stay informed about news, events, and analyst ratings that could impact Tesla's price movement. This will help you anticipate potential changes in the call option value. Essentially, a change in IV. Risk management strategy. Stop loss orders. Implement stop loss orders to automatically close your position if stock price falls below a certain level. This helps limit your potential losses. That's not really applicable here. And position sizing. Here we go. Ensure that your position is well sized within your overall portfolio. Avoid over leveraging and consider diversifying your holdings. Consider spread. Here we go. This is the cheapest way to deal with this thing right now. You might also consider rolling out to a more distant strike price or buying a call option with a higher strike price to create a spread. Spreads can help to limit risk and potential losses, as explained by Investopedia. So what they're essentially saying is just buy a bunch of fucking long calls and turn it into a call credit spread because that's a defined risk strategy, right?
That doesn't make it profitable though. You still buying in the loss.
This is a stock to bleeding, right? So while you currently have naked calls, consider converting to a cover call strategy if you're comfortable owning the stock. Buy 25,000 shares of Tesla at today's prices. That is the easiest way. Let me say it again for the people behind the class. That is the easiest way to eliminate any pain is buy the fucking shares. And then you're like praying they get called away at that point, right? That's the reality. So the reason that these feel uncomfortable is because the shares are not owned yet. So it says these limit your potential losses and allows you to benefit from the stock's growth according to Investopedia. Account funding, margin account. Maintain sufficient capital in your margin account to cover potential losses and meeting margin requirements. Ensure that you don't over-leverage your account. Closing the position before expiration. If the stock price is below your strike, closing out the position before expiration, June the 20th, may be the best course of action to minimize losses. At expiration, if the stock price is above the strike, your calls will likely be assigned. You'll be obligated to sell shares at the strike price. Key considerations. Naked calls have unlimited downside risk. If the stock price rises, the calls are assigned. You're obligated to sell the shares at a lower price than the market price. Your potential profit is limited to the premiums received. If the stock price stays below your strike, you keep the premium, but your profit is capped. Thoroughly assess your risk tolerance before trading naked calls. They are a high-risk strategy, and it's important to understand the potential for losses. So now let's talk about it, and let's welcome, first of all, BR Baller. Are you there, my man? I can't hear him. I guess we lost him.
Just a bit.
I don't know if you want to talk about NBO. He's got this position on NBO.
NBO. Okay.
Yeah, so an NBO. So when I did this before I started this position, I asked Brock, like, hey, if this happens, that. I played an if-then game with Brock on Twitter, right? And let's see if we can get this guy on here real quick. Are you there, bud? I guess he might have issues with his phone or whatever he's on. But anyway, obviously the things that we know that we can do is you can roll the calls. That's like the easiest thing, right? That doesn't cost any money, buys you a shitload of time. That's one. The other thing that you can do is you can buy long calls and take pressure off of the position that way. The other thing that you can do is you can buy the shares and take pressure off the position that way. The other thing that you could do, and you probably should do, is just close the position out and now cheer for the stock to go on a run. And then you can put the calls on again in a much better situation for yourself. So there's several things that you can do. I chose this route on the front end, and I'm not one of those that deviates from my strategy midstream unless like something really, really happens that I hadn't like factored in. But I had already factored in my mind Trump and Elon holding hand in hand, saying, hey, we're going to make FSD a thing. The tariffs, I had already factored all that shit in, and I didn't come up with the way that Tesla is going to get over $400. So that's my bet. But I'm saying that's what makes the market, right? Like I'm trying to help you guys understand that that's what makes a market is you have an investment thesis and you build positions around an investment thesis. And until you're proven wrong, that is when you start adjusting your investment thesis because you're like, hey, Mr. Market's large and in charge. So you don't want to get like too stubborn with this thing. But my initial plan was when I first put on the cash secured puts, I was like, because I started, we got to keep in mind where I started with the position, right? I started the position by selling cash secured puts. And I said, I'm going to start selling calls against these puts. And I know that two things cannot be true. I cannot go underwater on these calls and not make some money on these cash secured puts. That's what I knew to be true mathematically. And that's exactly the way that it's panning out. And I also knew that I would be okay rolling out the cover calls to match my puts in the distance, because if I'm okay having a cash secured put in the distance, I'm certainly okay having a cover call in the distance when I don't even have the pain of owning the shares. So we're not talking about all this fucking fictitious dead money that is sitting there, because that is just not the case. So that was my strategy, and my investment thesis was, I don't see how this is going to be that challenging of a position, because I just don't see Tesla going over $400 the rest of this calendar year. My entire investment thesis when I put out on this position was predicated on that fact in my mind. And it was a fact in my mind, right? I do not think that there is a world that we're going to live in 2025 that's going to have Tesla over $400 a share again. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I do know that whenever I match up the covered call to the 500 cash secured puts that I have in January, if Tesla starts shooting up, I know that I can simply increase the strike prices of my cash secured puts and take in all of those credits and shoot the strike price a lot higher, even for debits at that point if I needed to, because I could finance it with the credits from the cash secured puts. So that was a very carefully thought out strategy. And then on top of that, I was like, well, I'm going to go also make probably $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 even on the shares of TSLL that people seem to forget that I had, because that was an insurance policy that I bought when I started the position. Those 50,000 shares of TSLL are bought in the $7 range, and I would be selling them at $10.70 or whatever it is. in June as well. So I'm going to have all of that money at my disposal as well from a winning trade so that I can go and make this thing a little bit. What happened? I don't even know. Hold on. They're saying no audio. Can you guys not hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Mike's saying no audio.
Oh, I hear you.
Oh, maybe they're talking about BR Baller. Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Oh, yeah, you're good. I need to go back to the portfolio, though. There's something filled. I want to make sure I didn't push any fucking buttons up here. Hold on. It might have been on the little account. Remember, I was trying to roll some stuff on the little account? Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, cool. So we went. So we're good on Riot. We're good on SoFi. And we're now good on TSO. 1 second, because I had some stuff that I was cooking on. We got Clean Spark, Riot. Oh, that's what it is. It's that the intermediate account where I was trying to roll SoFi from 15 to 16. That's it. And then on TSOO as well. Okay. Okay. All right, Austin, go ahead. Talk to me. I know.
Uh-huh.
And it's important that people know that we're not in agreement here on how I'm playing this particular position. And that's why whenever we had this stream on, what was it, Wednesday? I'm not sure when it was. I think it was Wednesday, right? It was important for me to tell y'all that I got to test the position. Like, this is all, obviously, at the end of the day, I push the buttons, I live with the results, etc. And I know the way option plays, and we play very, very differently. But I just wanted to let you guys know that option would definitely be handling this a lot different than me. And that's okay. At the end of the day, we all have to run our own race, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's what that's the beauty of the show, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what makes a market, though.
exactly. I mean, if we sat here all day and I just been a yes man, like, yeah, what's the purpose, right? So I'm sure your viewers join to get that different variation, so they can be able to, say, okay, well, boom, I see this, I learned this, I learned that. I can, draw my own conclusion. So that's all it be. So definitely, man. I mean, for me, it's told I'm just managed a little bit different, right? But that's it. It's just all about management. For me, I just manage mine a little bit different. I'm a little bit more aggressive, and to get my calls out of the way, I use credits. So it's all the same. It just depends on how you choose to do it. But like you said, our objective is, we just take what we learn and we use it. I use a lot of the stuff that, a lot of the things that you do, like the backstop trade is very good, right? I really like using that, but it's great, man. Yeah, different viewpoints. So we had a couple there was a couple questions on there. I was just looking at the comments, and there was a guy that was asking
yeah, let me close this out real quick, and let's go through the comments, see what we got. No audio, we're good. Here we go. We'd love to see how option would handle Palantir 516 120 covered call. I don't think there's anything to do right now. Isn't Palantir at like 110?
110?
I think.
I didn't look. Let me see. What he said it was?
He's got a 120 strike for 5.
What would I do? Palantir, what cycle? May 16th?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, May 16th is 21 days left. I don't know how much credit he actually took in. That's the first thing I would have to know. But I mean, I would be selling 21 days. I would probably roll it to the 56 day and add a put. So I'll probably leave it at the 120 and sell me personally, I might sell the 95 put per contract. That's what I would do.
Right on. Let's talk about this question right here. This is a good one. AP makes it seem that you can always manage a losing position. Is it true in all cases? There is a percentage drop before 21 days that won't make us close the position for a loss. So I think that it's a lot easier to manage. Like, let's say you have a short strangle on. Me personally, it's a lot easier to manage when the stock goes down because we've been selling cash secure puts for a while. So you're like, okay, well, I took in credits from the cash secure put and the covered call. So I free rolled the covered call side. Now I have a lower adjusted cost basis to start. Give me the shares and we're wheeling and dealing, or we can roll to another cycle, taking more credits and stuff. So I think it just depends on if you're okay for staying in that trade longer than you first anticipated to eventually manufacture the win. Now, that's if it's going down. If it eventually goes down to zero, well, you're screwed. But that's a risk that you took on with that underlying from day one, right? Now, on the upside, I do feel like it gets a little bit tougher to manage if you want to continue to roll for credits, because sometimes these stocks can squeeze and really get away from you very, very quickly. And it's just like, shoot, like, how do you get back out in front of it? Because what Option is trying to encourage me to do right now is, okay, I got in front of it a little bit when I rolled it, but it seems like it wasn't quite enough. So it's like, well, how do you get to a more favorable delta situation? Because if we look at the deltas on my particular position, like if I look at the trade table here, that covered call is sitting at, what happened to my delta? I lost my delta.
You probably changed it from
volatility. Yeah, give me back my delta, damn it. Yeah, that's sitting at a 50 delta already. So that's not really a place you want to be. Bottom line, this is not where you want to be.
Yeah, no.
You want to be probably no more than 40. Realistically, probably more like in that 35 sweet spot at this point. So that's the thing. That's the thing in a nutshell.
And I mean, every position, is manageable. First is understanding, the sizes in check. That's the first thing. And I mean, you can manage these short calls and puts for years if you have to, right? Until you can get the move that you want. So I mean, that's why you can either roll, you can go invert it, you can invert the string, have an inverted strangle, you can have straddles, but the key that, and I kind of stress is that you have to understand the credits that you're taking in and what it allows for you to do, right? So like I was explaining to TJ, like, okay, look, you got to sell the other side. Why? Because for one, that reduces his deltas.
Yeah, that's crazy. First of all, y'all are just being fucking retarded. That didn't happen.
that reduces the delta. So you have to reduce your deltas, because if your deltas are too high, then I mean, it's just not helping you. So if you can reduce that by 20-30% to like, that will help you. That will help the movement, And then I mean, it's just a game of just being able to, okay, let the stock find a way where it's going to sit, and then let not only theta, but you have vega, right? So if Tesla was sitting at 20, I had a IVR of 20 yesterday, and now we're sitting at an IVR of 40 or better, then there you go. You can play that contraction as well. So it's not, it's not just one way of playing it or one way to bring your position back profitable or even selling for a small scratch. It's multiple ways. So that's how, I just approach it. You go and get beat, right? It doesn't matter. But what do you do after you beat to be able to massage that position back to take a smaller loss? You see what I'm saying? Than you initially take it. So that's how I play it.
Word.
I'm not giving up on. I'm not giving back that much money, and I'm not playing to lose. I always play to win. I'm always going to play to win. And if I had to take a small loss, then I take a small loss. And if I got to manage that for 2 years, I'll be managing it for 2 years.
Right. That's a fact.
Shit, I'm still managing Mara, and that's been since COVID. But
That's crazy.
it's probably never going to go back to 81. But I keep chipping away with small credits. Create, I'm selling under, the share price, but it's cool. I just got to keep managing it. But I'm in a position that if I had to roll, I would be able at this point to roll it back in front of the 81 strike price.
Right.
Just from credits that I've been receiving over time. So I'm cool with that. So until then, I just keep beating it down until, I made the money back from the shares that I had. So it's just that type of process, And it's not all about movement. With options, you're not playing movement. It's not movement. The deltas are not the same. You got 100 shares, you get 100 deltas. You use options, the deltas are different. You're playing with different, metrics. So
Right.
That's another thing, But it's just all on how you, choose to do it.
I agree. I'm sorry, I'm looking at a potential trade. 1 second.
Damn.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. There we go. All right, so you beat me down a little bit, option.
Oh no, I ain't beat you down.
No. This is what I didn't do anything crazy. Hold on. So what I did is share screen. I just got confirmation that another mill was going in the account. That's why I was waiting. So, because a lot of the strategy was based on the money that's also on its way to the portfolio. So this is what I did. How do I go here? This way. Are we over here? So this is what I did. So this is the updated position now. I rolled from the 56-day cycle to the 84-day cycle, and I went to 310 strike, and I picked up quite a bit of credits for now. So if you look at it here, so these are the totals for today. So I picked, and it's the only thing that I've done is, well, I rolled a couple of little things, but I rolled Tesla a couple of times. And then I got more aggressive on calls on in phase and hood. Like I rolled down on calls and up on puts to just bring more credits on those short strangles. So now if you look at the positions, I've got the 6,500 shares. I've got nothing in the June 20 cycle anymore on Tesla. And then I've got the cover calls sitting at 310. And then I've still got the cash secured puts at 175 and 200. But I do have confirmation that the million is on the way, so we're good there. And messaging the banker to make sure that the wires, everything's clean. So then now my next move is going to be to go from 175 to 200 on the cash secured puts. And then once the money hits the account, then I'm going to put 250 cash secured puts over there at the 84-day cycle, and I'm probably going to go like 210 to 200 even over there, and then call life good. So that's the way that I'm playing it off in a nutshell. Where are we at? There we go. Gosh, here we go. Perfect. Did you see it? Pretty simple. Pretty simple. And again, guys, it's just important that you guys learn how to manage your portfolio. On the very, very first episode of Wheeler's Mr. Premium, you remember Mr. Premium with the option? He said that we're all the CEOs of our portfolios, right? So you have to like run your race and do it the way that it makes sense to you. It's like your eye, if that makes sense. This is a real good question right here. TJ, an option. Do you prefer weekly or monthly covered calls? I personally prefer monthlies because I just don't like over managing a portfolio because I have a lot of other stuff that I like to do with my time. But weeklies theoretically pay you more money over long stretches of time, but they should because it's a lot more work. So where are you at, option? You're 30, 45 days out, right, on everything? That's kind of the way you do the tasty trade thing, or no?
I mean, in covered calls, I mean, it's all for me. It's what's the IVR? Where we at with volatility? If volatility is high, then I go in the front months. But if it's not, I'm kind of stick around where I can get paid 30 days. Mm-hmm. It just depends on where volatility is at.
Maybe you can write like a post or something on how you manage the whole marathon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm underwater. Like I said, I got the shares at 81. So it's like all I'm doing is just selling strangles that's in closer dated. I don't even know where it's at right now, but because I got this on the other account. But I'm just selling the strangles 40 days, 45 days out, and just trying to get as much as I can. Reduce it.
So one thing that I did want to share with you guys.
Credit spreads. Thanks for sharing.
So one thing I do want to share with you guys though is this right here. Is the account up there again or no?
Yes.
You see where the options buying power spiked up quite a bit?
Yeah, because you rolled out to.
But the brokerage recognizes that we're in a much more solid position now. Like we've de-risked a little bit, and because you just got to understand, like option. If I can tell you, there's two key components in a contract, in an options contract. What do those two key components consist of? What would you say the answer? You can only put two.
It's only the intrinsic and the extrinsic value.
Right. So in layman's terms, what is that?
The cost. That makes up the cost of the option.
Time and money.
Yeah, it makes up the cost of the option.
Right. So if you don't have money to manage this position, the only thing that you can throw at it is time, right, and knowledge. Like you have to figure out how can I rework these deltas, if you will, right? Because we're all at the end of the day, we're all playing a delta game. So I feel like I'm in a much better spot because it would take someone in a very low IQ situation to want to own shares at 310. Because in order to buy the shares from you at 310, when they could go buy them in the open market at 285 right now. So that is just mathematically not likely to happen. And even if they did, I'm selling them to them at 310. Let's just say somebody was that dumb. Well, I could turn around, I could buy them in the open market at 285, and I would make that spread, right? So it's just not going to happen. So it's important that you have some time and money on your side.
You sell those shares because those are short shares.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're going to take your shares away. They're paying. Well, I have to deliver those shares at 310, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so how can you have those shares delivered there whenever it's you're out of the money? You know what I mean? Like there's no risk there. Now, if Tesla was trading at say 400 right now, then that's a serious problem because you don't own those shares, and you'd be in the money because they're trading at 3. Or kind of about it, left it the way that it was, right? We can go back to the original contract. Can you explain the risks there? It was for 5/16 was the expiration date,
mm-hmm.
and the strike price was 275. let's end the segment with that. Like,
Go to
let's
the trade
really,
table. Go to the trade table.
let's really understand
Okay.
why that was at a serious risk. Because it was over here, right? And it was right here. This was the original play.
And it's out in the money.
So this was the original play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it shows it right there in the money. You see the little.
Yeah. Click on the table. Right there. Yeah. There you go. That's where it was. And what you want to do is what did you have?
What I want to say is y'all understand why, even though there's 21 days to expiration, if I would have left it there, I could have woke up on Monday and had to deliver all those shares. Like, that was a risk. Was it a real high risk? That's debatable. But that was a definite inherent risk. Do people really understand why that was risky option is my question. Like, could you help clarify why it was so risky and why this position needed to be managed, and it needed to be managed probably yesterday?
I mean, for me, managing yesterday was because I got the move that I wanted, right? I saw based off of how everything looked, that was the move that you wanted, to be able to get out in time. It didn't cost you that much, and be able to use those credits to push your strikes further up. Now, if right now and this is how I use it. This is how I tell if I'm going to be assigned. And it's a backdoor little trick that I've said a couple of times. All you have to do is look at your correspondent put. So if you're looking at the 275 and we look across, the extrinsic value was $13.65.
Right.
Normally what happens is if you scroll down a little bit more to like the if you start getting around that 235, so you're talking about another like $40 move. That's when
we'd have to be going the other way though.
No. I can use that to see, because if that 235, you got a $40 move up, that 235 would be at like 27. Well, the extrinsic value in that 235
would go to $3.
Would be at 275. So it'd be up $3. So now you running the risk of being assigned.
Yeah.
Right. So you got time, right? You had time.
But you're playing a little too close to comfort.
So I mean, that's how you know if you're going to be assigned. I mean, in some stocks don't, you can go to the cents, to the pennies, and still be holding them. But like something like Tesla, more higher price stocks, after $3, you don't want to be in it, because remember, the risk is to the upside on Tesla. You would make more money to the upside than you do on the downside. So buying puts in Tesla don't even really make you no money, and that's a fact.
Facts.
So it's it's cool.
So here's another thing that I could do. Is I keep taking on a bunch of credits. If you are extremely convinced that, I don't know if I fell out of the camera or not because I was leaning and I can't see. Let me go back and talk for a second. I need to get dual monitors, guys. I'm going to get a monitor over the weekend. That way I can see what's going on when I do this. If you're absolutely convinced that this thing's going to do a moonshot, and you have the money, to me, the best thing that you could do is buy fucking leaps and take some pressure off the position. For me, right? Like, this is the way I like to play the game. If you have like plenty of money, and we're not talking about a $7 million position, the best thing that you can do is just turn it into a regular cover call and buy the damn shares and then sleep at night. That's the best thing to do.
I would rather that than the leaps, because remember, now buying the leaps, you adding, what I'm saying, more money to it, and you need the stock to move.
And then it's an eroding asset.
Yeah, you needed the money, right? So let's say you buy it and the shit drop. And now it's like, dang, it's a
And
tough.
can you explain what turning this into a call credit spread would do? Can we talk about the gimmies and the gotchas there? Because what the Gemini or whatever artificial intelligence was saying was, like, for instance, here, I could just buy the 315s, right?
Okay, go ahead and try it. Just do it. Let's just do it, and I can show it to you. And I can also give you a visual.
Yeah, so we
Go ahead
go here.
hit the clear button first, though.
Okay, what now?
Yeah, hit the clear. Yeah.
Okay. So we go over here and we're like, well, let's just buy some fucking calls and be done with it right over here. So if I do that and let's just do 250 because I don't need all 315 because I'm going to cover call, right? So I'm like, okay, something like that, right? To make sure it would fill if I really wanted to get.
How many? Okay. Now, before you do that, now let's just see the visual of that. Okay. Go to hit analysis. No, matter of fact, pull out this, not that one. Yeah. Take off everything but take off the 600 and just uncheck everything in that box. You can leave that one. Yeah. Take off those two. Check the 315 in the call you just bought.
Well, I haven't bought it yet, so I don't know.
No, I mean that you clicked on up top, right there. Now that's to the downside. So if you the only way you will probably be able to do it is that you will have to go so deep in the money, right, on the call side to turn that to kind of help you to the upside. But as you can see, if the stock just keep going, you're gonna, that red portion of it, you're just buying. You're buying in the loser. That's a loser, even if you did that.
Yeah, I don't like that strategy.
Yeah, but that's now hold on, TJ. Go back to the trade table and then take off the 315. Now remember, when you're setting up spreads, it's not just the spread, it's the width of that spread you have to buy. So you have to go into money. Let's say you go to the 260. So that's going to give you 310. What's that? $50 wide. That might can do. So put 250 there. You're gonna have to push. Turn that to a buy though. You selling it. You got to turn that to green. Just click. Yeah, just click. Yeah.
Sure. God dang it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, let's try the 260. That's a $50. Let's see what that does. Now make it 250. No, make your okay. Now go to the analysis tab.
Shit.
You're gonna have to edit the order.
Oh shit! Hold on. Yeah. There.
Now do 250. 250.
Analysis.
All right, pull out your side, that side, yeah, over there on the left.
Oh no, I didn't do it right.
Yeah, just pull up your yeah. Some reason. Okay, just hit clear on everything. There you go. Now scroll over a little bit. Try to Now see, even if you did that and the stock went up, you still buying in a loss.
Yeah.
Because of so that's why that's not a good. I never agree with just buying. Well, I'm gonna just buy this. Nah, because really, if you really know, you buying in a loss because spreads are based off of the width of the spread.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you would have to go so far in the money that the only result that you should just do is just buy the shares.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's why.
To me, the only thing that you can really do when a short strangle gets away from you, because this is essentially a short strangle, right? I just don't have the dates matching yet. They will eventually. You can roll the entire thing out in time, or you can turn it into a coverage stream. Like to me, those are the only ideal ways to defend it. So you have to have the money to be able to do that. If not, you have to be willing to roll in perpetuity, right? Like kind of like option is with Marathon since COVID, is you'll be in that situation for a real long time. So it's very similar to being stuck with shares at that point, isn't it? Option. Like you look at, like, I mean, I don't know if y'all have owned shares for a long time, but like the very first stock that I owned was a company called Intuit, INTU, and I owned those shares for well over 10 years. A lot of people can't do that. Like they're not wired for that. So you got to figure out like who you are.
I'm not taking no loss on Mara. I'm going, look, watch. Get my money back. Yeah. I'm not taking no loss. I'm gonna stay in it, like you said, for 10 years,
I hear you.
But yeah, I mean, it's plenty, management skills. But like I said, that's just one I don't, deal with or like just buying calls. Only if I'm gonna buy a call, it has to be in the money. Let's put it like that, right? Because now I'm just going replicating shares. So if I'm gonna buy a Delta, I'm gonna buy that 75, 80 Delta, right? So now I got 80 Deltas, and then I'm going to sell against those 80 Deltas in the shorter term cycle. Right. That's the only way I'm gonna do it. I'm never buying nothing in the money. No. I mean, out of the money. Never buying an out of the money call. I'm just not gonna do that.
Right.
Because it's not, that's too much movement I need to happen. But yeah.
Well, cool, man. I think that you guys have gotten quite a bit today. I recommend like watching these kinds of episodes slowly over again, because we give you guys what other channels just are never going to give you.
No.
This level of transparency, this level of nuance does not exist on YouTube. If it did, I wouldn't have had to start the fucking channel, because I was looking for me whenever I started the channel. You know what I mean? I was like, who's doing this live? Almost like a classroom setting. Come trade with me. You know what I'm saying? Like who's doing it? And I couldn't find it. It was like bits and pieces here and there, but no one that like constantly showed the plays in their portfolio and why they have the plays on, how they're managing them, why they're managing them. None of that stuff. None of that stuff. None of that stuff was there.
No.
So I created what I couldn't find.
And the most important.
But the channel hasn't grown. Why? Because it turns out that a lot of people don't want to go to school. A lot of people don't want to actually learn how to do this for a living. A lot of people just like talking about the stock market. Not a lot of people like to actually make a shitload of money with the stock market. I had it all wrong. I had an investment thesis option. I had an investment thesis that a lot of people are going to want to be multimillionaires. Call me crazy. It turns out they don't. No. It turns out that they just want to fucking talk about stocks and talk about why a fucking stock's trading at $100 and have the ticker on the fucking screen for an hour and stare at it. Like that is exciting for people.
Yeah.
It's exciting for people to talk about why a fucking stock moved up and down versus how are we going to make money off of that today?
Yeah. So that's all I look at.
My boring ass channel is what am I doing to make money today? What am I doing? This is what I'm doing. What are you doing? It turns out that the algorithm thinks that that's a piece of shit strategy for views. Like people just want to talk about, well, why did Google go up? Why did Google tank? Why did Tesla go up? Why did Tesla I don't fucking know. This is what I'm saying.
And I mean, what I know your viewers, man, one of the greatest things that I respect about you, and we chat all the time from when we first met, I definitely respect you, is that even during the bad times,
I'll show you everything. I don't give a shit.
You know what I'm saying? And that is like the key information that one should embrace, because you learn when things go against you. It's easy to take off a winner, right? Yeah. But you learn when you're going through it.
Yeah.
So, for myself, that's how I learn. And I mean, for you to be there every step of the way, man, that's a lot of information and a lot of knowledge that people are picking up on, and just I hope they're not taking it for granted, you know.
Yeah, I learned a lot from them. Dude, like there's this gentleman here, he's got a wealth of knowledge.
Mhm.
Sergio's got a wealth of knowledge.
Mhm.
You know, like I learned from you, Dallas, Mr. Premium, the original Wheelers. Like I
Mhm.
learned from you guys too. Like
Absolutely.
I'm not the guy that just shows the good. I'm not
Mhm.
the guy that hides when I'm on vacation conveniently. You know what I'm saying? Like you ask me, I'll tell you. I'll clap back at your Twitter. I'm like, I don't care. Like I'm like, dude, I'm just documenting the journey, and I ain't perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I don't have a fancy ass course that I'm trying to sell you, so I don't need to maintain this high fictitious level of accountability.
Mhm.
I don't need to pretend to be someone that I'm not. I'm not perfect.
Absolutely.
I'm a student of the game still. I
Yep.
watch Tom and they start talking about shit. He's got a lot of nerdy people on there, and I'm
Yep.
lost half the time too. I
Yep.
mean, seriously, dude, like you want to learn. I mean, Tom has forgotten more about options than I'll ever care to learn.
Yeah.
And then it, but
That's why for me, it's you know, they gotta be able to create content, but this is what I do.
Yeah.
You know, I go and I get fundamentally sound, and then I create my strategies and what I like to do based off of those fundamentals. That's it. You know, now I play by the rules because I don't know nothing, right? So being I don't know nothing, I gotta play by the rules. But
Yeah.
I get creative in my own way. But
Yeah, so I don't know. I wanted to create a channel that didn't exist, and this is how this little channel happened.
definitely.
And I think eventually it'll get big. I don't know, but I don't know if it will because nobody trades with first of all, nobody trades with the money that we have. Nobody does it live. You know, I mean, I'm saying does it live. There's more money. Like me, Kevin has more money, right?
Yeah.
Like one time he showed like $20 million that he was working with. This was around the COVID time.
Okay.
So, and then he's got a jet. There's that, right? So there's signs of a shitload of money there. But
I think
doesn't show all the plays, giving me a fucking little pie chart and saying these are the percentages of my plays. I mean, I could have Jeremiah, I could have do that pie chart for me in 10 seconds. I mean, I don't know that that's really considered transparency, a fucking pie chart. So,
I mean, some people may kind of, I don't know, feel intimidated by it, but it's just one thing. I mean,
yeah.
I don't trade with an account size like that, but it doesn't intimidate me because it's the same thing, right? It's just
it's a game of credits and debits.
250 contracts is no different than one contract, right?
You're going to manage it the same way. Manage it the same way. The loss is going to be bigger, or the gain's going to be bigger.
Yeah. Now, of course, you're going to make more.
The IB's the same. Everything's the same for the contract.
Of course, you're going to, and we know that about life. The more you have, the better you can, trade or gamble or whatever you want to do, right? Because you can balance the risk a little bit better. But I mean,
well, you can shoot for less percentages, but it's still a lot of money.
It's still a lot, yeah, correct.
Because the volume is bigger.
Exactly.
Right? So, like for me, getting 50% on a contract, that's not exciting on the little account, but on the big account, it could still be $200,000.
Exactly.
And nobody's going to sneeze at that, right? So that's why these bigger accounts with bigger mindsets, like Tom's got a shitload of money. They're like, hey, if I can play at 50% and get out of there, but I got both sides on. Well, isn't that the equivalent of getting 100% on one side? And you don't have to stay in the whole time. So you got to really start appreciating the tasty trade way when you've been in it for a few cycles. Granted, I'm only on cycle number 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can start seeing once your book is being built and it's starting to play out, and you're just literally like keeping this drunk driver in between the highway lines, right? That's all you're doing. You're just moving the lines because it's a curvy ass road, right? Because that's what the stocks do. So to me, whenever a short triangle was explained to me about 4 years ago, they're like, it's the equivalent of a highway. And you're just, the wider you get, the more room you have for air. because you got to treat this stock like a drunk driver,
Mhm.
and it's doing all they wants to do. So the wider, the better. You know what I
The
mean?
craziest thing is then you wait for the opportunity, and when the market crashes, you
Yeah.
make more money.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to manage Tesla now, but as long as you keep managing it and manage it, and we already know the type of marketing we in, you get bad news and Tesla crash, watch how much money you make. That's why it's best to be short the market.
They do have a lot of videos, Jill, on it. It is. It is. I mean,
Oh,
what
she
I
said,
love
walk
about
me
the
through. You
Tasty
just have
Trade,
to. I
what I
mean,
love about an option is my nemesis was the right click.
oh
I
yeah,
couldn't right click, but because this platform is all about right click.
yeah, right.
They should call it right click trade. I mean, because you can right click and trade pretty damn quick versus trade options, sell put, sell call. Like everybody talks about Robinhood. I did a trade on the Robinhood platform the other day, and I was like, my lord, I could already execute 2 or 3 trades on Chase. Like it takes a long time to place a trade on Robinhood.
Mm.
You know, like unless you go to the little thing, you can like buy, sell that way. I mean, so they have ways to try to like make it a little bit faster. But dude, like once you learn the Tasty Trade platform, it's like a hell of a lot faster to execute trades on the desktop.
Yeah.
Now on the mobile, my God, you got to hand it to Robinhood. Robinhood is they're like the Apple of trading when it comes to their mobile platform makes it dummy proof too.
Mm-hmm.
And Tasty just not there.
No.
It's just not there.
That or the web. I don't like none of that.
Yeah, the biggest thing, and again, like I said, I'm not going to be talking shit about Robinhood. Robinhood helped me to learn this game, the platform, because I wanted to learn the game. I didn't want to be confused by the platform, so I knew that I wanted to go to a real high level eventually, but I couldn't like learn how to drive the fancy plane. Let me start with a little Cessna. You know what I mean? And then that's easy. That's easy to operate, and that's what Robinhood was for me. So I'm like forever grateful to that platform. But the one thing that I did learn, and I kept getting higher level, like the Bill Whites of the world telling me, Mr. Premium was telling me, you telling me, like, hey, I know that Robinhood looks free, but it really isn't that free when you consider the fills that you're getting or not getting. Because they're like, yes, you're going to see $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year in fees, but you're also going to see a lot more in fill premium. So it's kind of like they're earning their keep. And I just had a real hard time believing that, dude. It took me about 2 years hearing it over and over. And then so I started testing it out myself. And it was like, OMG, dude. Robinhood price improved me like one or 2 times the entire time that I was on that platform. And Tasty Trade does it once or twice a day, it seems.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's interesting. But there's that payment per order flow or per order flow. That's a real thing, dude.
Right. It's real.
There was a big old article. There was a big old article on how Robinhood's not really free. My brother-in-law sent it to me.
Okay.
This is when we were all considering as a family to move over to a different platform. We hadn't even landed on Tasty yet. We had originally wanted to move over to Charles Schwab, but then when we presented the LOCs and everything, it just got very complicated, so it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because Charles Schwab had made us a real sweet deal on the fees.
Okay.
They dropped it from like 65 to 35 cents.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, that's reasonable. You know what I mean? But didn't end up happening. And then when Robinhood kicked me out of their platform, we ended up here. You know, I talked to you right away, and we transitioned over quickly. And I had already opened up a Tasty Trade account.
Yeah, you got one. Yeah, you
already. I just hadn't funded it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, well, let me fund it. And I started with $1,000. And I remember we went on here and I was like all frustrated trying to learn how to place trades. And so it took a while.
Right click. You had to do the right.
I mean, it took you, 20 minutes to set up my right click on the mouse? Yeah. But now it's like the the platform was intimidating initially, but now it's like you're looking at the same shit over and over, right? So it's no different than driving a car or driving my motorcycle. I'm only looking at like the one or two gauges while I'm riding the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all the other shit. I'm focused on the road and keeping my bike upright and make sure there's not a board or tire. Or, I don't want to be behind the 18 wheeler. I mean, there's other shit that I'm looking at. I ain't like sitting there looking at gauges all the time. Yeah. And it's the same thing on the platform is you're looking at a couple of little gauges and you call life good.
That's it.
You call life good, but there's a lot of detail there. There's a lot of detail there. Mm-hmm. And I still don't know half of that shit yet. I'll learn with time.
Yeah, some of the stuff I don't know, but the stuff that I do look at is from it helps my trade out, right? So yeah. I got like little key things that I look at, and there I go. It just, like you said, becomes repetitive. Same thing every day.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys. I got to get rocking and rolling, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I know our boy Amit, freaking superstar YouTube creator. I mean, dude, let's give it up for my boy. Dude, this dude has made finance fun. It's fun to tune into his channel. Got the cheesy ass fucking cowbell going. It's like, dude, his exuberance, his excitement is just awesome. It's awesome to. Nobody wants to watch CNBC, bro. Like, the only thing I have CNBC on is for the fucking tickers and the couple of decent looking ladies that are on there. And if Jim Cramer says anything off the wall, I know that that's a stock I can bet against. But I'm saying, but he makes it fun to watch, and he always has really good. Folks that come on his channel and stuff.
Okay.
So it's good stuff there. You got to spend, probably like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours a week watching.
Okay.
His channel, especially when earnings comes out. He always has the right people on, and they cover the earnings pretty well. And people like me that want to follow the company, right?
Yeah.
Like Option doesn't need to know that shit. He's like, I got this highway, and the drunk driver's there, and the wider the highway, the easier it is, right? Because you roll and you expand, right? That's the game. You roll and you expand the width. You roll and you expand the width. Eventually, if you want to take the trade off, your highway is so wide, meaning your cash puts over here, your cover call is over here. You can just ride the damn thing out if you want to milk all of it and call life good.
Yep.
You can close and you look up and you're like at 70, 80% on both sides. You're like, I'm going to just take this trade off now, or take one leg off at a time, depending on what's going on, right? And you can kind of like plan your exit. So the wider your highway is, the wider your spread, your width is. I call it a spread, but the wider your triangle is, the easier it is to exit eventually. And the 21 days to expiration doesn't affect you as much because you have so much wiggle room.
Exactly. You expand, like you said, expanding.
Safety trades doesn't talk about that part enough. They're like, man, it's 21 days. Well, what happens when you want to actually exit? Well, it would behoove you to have a wider strangle, so that it's easier to navigate those last 21 days because everything is so expanded at that point, right? Like every move is so amplified.
And like you said, when you get into that area where you have to do that, you are in defense mode, right?
Oh Lord.
So being that you are in defense mode, that's what you want. You want to be able to defend that trade to where you can be profitable, or you can close for a small loss and then get out of there. Because I know, like, a lot of time for me, if I go into if I get to the 21-day mark, or sometime even the 30-day mark, if volatility has contracted, I get out. I just get out. Because I'm not playing for direction. I don't care about direction. Majority of the time, I'm playing for a volatility contraction. You see what I'm saying? Or time to just go by. I don't play movement. I don't care about direction. So that's what it comes down to. And sometimes I find myself in a position where it'll contract, and I'm kind of like, I'm losing. Then I got to defend it. And then because once it start contracting, what happens? Now vol start picking back up. Now you back in the same boat again. So it's like for me, I like to get in when vol is high and I get out when vol start to contract. And then yesterday was the day where vol was contracting all across the board. So, but, it's all good, man. I ain't going to bore people with that, but it's just how, you got to figure out your way. And that's for the audience. Just figure out a way on how you want to play it and don't take losses and don't put in stop losses. Manage.
I hear you, man. Well, guys, I got to get rocking and rolling. I actually got to make a couple of payments. I got to check on my parents and stuff. Shout out to my parents, dude. It was their they signed in. It was their 54-year anniversary yesterday.
Yeah, damn. That's all right.
And Monday is our 2-year anniversary. So we made it 2 years so far. And
okay.
I feel like the first year we were still getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
The second year was definitely a lot smoother than the first year. But it went fast. Like it's going by very fast. It's crazy, man. Like, you've been married for a while now, Option, right?
Yeah. Hey, love it to death, man. Feel like I just got married.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to when we're not really looking forward to it because then that means I got older. But I'm looking forward to when we're celebrating our 20-year anniversary and stuff. Like, like it's cool to have like your person and you're like, I know I'm growing old with this girl.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It doesn't matter, I'm gonna still be squeezing her ass when I'm 80 years old. And
absolutely.
Don't let me catch her slipping in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying?
You better. Right.
Anyway, I gotta get rocking and rolling. TJ the Wheel Deal signing off. As always, Mary Sky, stay blue, stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.
All right, TJ. Have a good night.